Apparently, finding your husband sobbing in the kitchen at 2 p.m. on a Tuesday isn't the plot twist you expect when you forget your laptop charger at home. My name is Odessa Barrett, and I'm about to tell you how walking through my own front door transformed into the most absurd episode of a reality show I never auditioned for. Picture this. Spring Valley, Connecticut. One of those aggressively perfect suburbs where everyone's lawn is exactly 2 inches tall and the HOA fines you for breathing too loud. I'm 34, married to Hendrix for 8 years. We have 2 kids, Braden, 7, and little Sienna, 4, and I work remotely as a digital marketing consultant, which basically means I'm invisible to my own family until someone needs me to fix the iPad. So there I was, pulling into the garage at the most inconvenient moment possible, middle of a workday when I should have been at the downtown Starbucks doing my focused work session, also known as scrolling through Target's website while pretending my latte justified the table space. Forgot my charger. Classic. I tiptoe in through the laundry room because I don't want to interrupt the important conference call Hendrix mentioned this morning. That's when I heard it. Crying. Not like discreet masculine sniffling, full-body ugly sobs, the kind that make your shoulders shake and your breath hitch. I freeze. My husband, Mr. I don't do emotions, the guy who didn't cry at our wedding or when either of our children were born, is falling apart in our kitchen, and he's on the phone. I can hear every single word through the archway. I can't keep lying to her mom. She deserves better than this. Every time she looks at me with those trusting eyes, I want to die. I've been living a double life for 3 years, and I don't know how much longer I can do this. 3 years. I stood there with my Kate Spade bag sliding off my shoulder, keys jangling in my hand, feeling like I'd just walked into an alternate universe. The man I meal prepped for, did laundry for, co-parented with, had late-night talks about our dreams and plans with. This man had an entire life I knew nothing about. For 3 years. But here's the kicker. He wasn't confessing to me. He was confessing to his mom, the mother-in-law I saw every single Sunday for lunch, who hugged me and called me daughter of my heart, who watched our kids. This woman knew everything and never said a word during our brunches while pretending to be my friend. Let me paint you the full picture of my spectacular life before it imploded. Hendrix worked as a regional sales director for a pharmaceutical company. Lots of travel. Phoenix, Denver, Austin. Sometimes gone 3-4 days a week. I never questioned it because, honestly, the man brought home great money, and I got to build my consulting business from our home office that overlooks our meticulously landscaped backyard. We were living the suburban dream, right? The kind of life where you post perfectly filtered family photos at pumpkin patches and everyone comments, "Goals," with heart-eye emojis. Our house? A 4-bedroom colonial with the kind of open-concept kitchen that's featured in Better Homes and Gardens. White subway tile backsplash, marble countertops, that farmhouse sink everyone's obsessed with. Hendrix was standing right next to that sink, his 6-foot frame hunched over, phone pressed to his ear, completely oblivious that his wife was 15 feet away listening to her entire marriage disintegrate in real time. I know, he was saying, his voice cracking. But Odessa's so good. She's such a good mom, such a good wife. She doesn't deserve to be lied to like this. And the kids. God, Mom, what am I supposed to tell Braden and Sienna? How do I explain that Daddy's been— He broke off into another sob. My mother-in-law's voice crackled through the speaker, loud enough for me to catch fragments. Need to think about what's best for everyone. Can't just blow up. Responsibilities. That's what she called whatever bomb he was about to drop on our family. Responsibilities. I should have stormed in right then. Should have announced my presence, demanded answers, threw my laptop charger at his head for dramatic effect. But here's what 8 years of marriage to an emotionally unavailable man teaches you. Gather intel first, react later. So I stood there, barely breathing, while my husband continued his confession to the woman who clearly valued family secrets over family honesty. She thinks I'm going to Phoenix again next week, Hendrix continued, his voice steadier now. But I can't. I can't keep doing this. They deserve better too. All of them deserve better than me splitting myself in half. They. Them. All of them. My brain started doing that thing where it replays every suspicious moment from the past 3 years and fast forward. The extra phone, he said, was for work. The sudden interest in business development opportunities in Arizona. The time he came home from a sales conference with a sunburn and sand in his luggage, claiming he'd squeezed in a quick golf game. The way he'd shower immediately when he got home from trips, like he was washing off evidence. Oh my God. I'd married a walking cliché. My husband had a second family in Arizona. I didn't know that for certain yet. Not standing there in my laundry room, surrounded by the smell of Tide Pods and the gentle hum of our energy-efficient dryer. But my marketing brain, trained to spot patterns and predict consumer behavior, was already connecting dots faster than a conspiracy theorist on Reddit. "What am I supposed to do, Mom?" Hendricks pleaded. "If I tell Odessa, she'll leave. She'll take the kids. Her parents will murder me. Your ladies' book club will never speak to you again. The whole neighborhood will know." Ah, there it was. His primary concern wasn't our shattered marriage or traumatized children. It was the social fallout, the neighborhood gossip, the fact that his mother might get side-eyed at the Spring Valley Community Center. Something cold and sharp crystallized in my chest right then. Not heartbreak. That would come later, probably around 3 a.m. when I was stress-eating ice cream and scrolling through our wedding photos. This was something else, something calculating. My mother-in-law responded with something I couldn't quite hear, but Hendricks laughed, actually laughed, through his tears. "You're right," he said. "You're always right. I just need more time to figure out how to handle this without destroying everything." Without destroying everything. Like our marriage wasn't already a dumpster fire he'd been feeding for 3 years. I backed up slowly, carefully, like I was retreating from a crime scene. Grabbed my charger from the kitchen counter where I'd left it that morning, right next to Hendricks's favorite coffee mug that said, "World's Best Dad." The irony wasn't lost on me. I made it back to my car without making a sound. Years of tiptoeing around sleeping babies finally paying off in the most depressing way possible. Sitting in my Subaru Outback, because of course I drove a Subaru, I was a Connecticut mom. It was practically issued at the hospital when Braden was born. I stared at my reflection in the rearview mirror. Same hazel eyes, same auburn hair I'd been meaning to get highlighted for 3 months. Same face I'd seen every morning while brushing my teeth next to my lying husband. Except now that face knew something it hadn't known 20 minutes ago. My phone buzzed. A text from Hendricks. "Hey babe, conference call running long. Might grab lunch out. Love you." Love you. I actually laughed out loud. Like, full-on crazy person cackle in my car. The kind of laugh that would make someone walking by think I was having a mental breakdown. Which, fair assessment. I didn't respond to his text. Instead, I drove back to the Starbucks, ordered an absurdly expensive cold brew, opened my laptop, and did what any self-respecting digital marketing consultant would do when her life imploded. I started researching. Private investigator costs in Connecticut. Average. Divorce attorney consultations, free first meeting, interesting. Arizona marriage records, public information, Facebook advanced search functions. Now we're talking. Hendricks thought he had more time. He thought he could control the narrative, manage the fallout, protect everyone's precious reputations. But here's the thing about being married to someone who works in digital marketing. We don't just understand exposure, we architect it. We know exactly how to craft a story, when to release information for maximum impact, and how to turn a personal disaster into a viral moment that people can't look away from. 3 years, he said. 3 years of lies. Well, buckle up, Hendricks. Because I've got 8 years of digital marketing expertise, access to all our joint accounts, a mother-in-law who's about to learn what going viral really means, and a very particular set of skills that I'm about to use to turn our next family gathering into the most memorable event Spring Valley has ever seen. Mother's Day was 6 weeks away. Perfect timing. Nothing says Happy Mother's Day, Mom, quite like exposing her role in her son's double life in front of the entire extended family, complete with receipts, screenshots, and a PowerPoint presentation I was already mentally designing. Because if there's one thing I learned in 8 years of marriage, It's that the truth always comes out. I just decided it would come out on my schedule, with my narrative, and with a full audience, including whatever second family he'd been hiding in Phoenix that he thought I'd never discover. Spoiler alert, I was about to discover everything. And I was going to make sure everyone else did too. Turns out, playing detective on your own husband is significantly less glamorous than Netflix makes it look, but infinitely more satisfying when you've got a Costco-sized box of patience and a subscription to about 14 different data search platforms. Let me tell you about the next 72 hours of my life, which I've affectionately nicknamed The Awakening, or how I became a forensic accountant without even trying. First stop, our joint bank account. You know, the one Hendricks insisted we keep for transparency and partnership. Hilarious. I pulled up 3 years of statements on my laptop while sitting in our bedroom. The same bedroom where he'd kissed me goodbye that very morning with a smile that should have won him an Oscar. March 2022. $847 charged to a jewelry store in Scottsdale. He told me that was a client appreciation gift. The necklace I got for our anniversary that year? Amazon Prime, $62, arrived 2 days late. July 2022, $2,340 to a furniture store in Tempe. Office set up for the new regional branch, he'd said. Apparently, I was furniture shopping for his other life. September 2022, $438 to a pediatrician's office in Phoenix. Reimbursable medical expense for a colleague's family emergency, he'd explained, looking me dead in the eye. I literally helped this man file that expense report. The charges went on. Children's clothing stores, a Phoenix elementary school, grocery stores in Arizona, a regular monthly payment of $2,800 to something called Desert View Properties LLC. My husband wasn't just having an affair, he was paying rent. He had a whole entire separate household budget. I did the math right there on our bed. Over 3 years, Hendricks had funneled approximately $127,000 of our joint money into his Arizona life. Our joint money. The money I helped earn while building my consulting business, managing our household, raising our children, and apparently financing my own betrayal like some kind of volunteer sponsor program for infidelity. Wednesday morning arrived with aggressive suburban cheerfulness. I made Braden's lunch, turkey sandwich, apple slices, organic fruit snacks, while Hendricks sat at our kitchen island scrolling through his phone. "Coffee's fresh," I said brightly, pouring him a cup in that world's best dad mug. "Thanks, babe." He didn't even look up. "I've got that Phoenix trip next week, remember? Tuesday through Friday." "Oh, that's right. Big client presentation?" "Yeah, the Peterson account. Real make-or-break situation." The Peterson account. I'd heard about it for 2 years. Listened to him practice presentations. Offered suggestions. The Peterson account that I was 98% certain didn't exist. "Well, you'll kill it like always," I said, kissing his cheek. "I believe in you." The look of guilt that flashed across his face almost made me feel bad. Almost. Then I remembered the $127,000. After Hendricks left, I dropped the kids at school and did something decisive. I called a private investigator. His name was Marcus Flynn, and his website looked like it was designed in 2003, which somehow made him seem more legitimate. We met at a Panera Bread in the next town over, because nothing says, "My life is falling apart," quite like discussing your husband's infidelity over a bread bowl. Marcus was maybe 55, gray beard, kind eyes that had probably seen every variation of human betrayal. "Arizona, you said?" He tapped his pen against his notepad after I explained everything. "And you've got financial records? Enough to wallpaper our house." I slid a folder across the table. Marcus flipped through the pages, his eyebrows climbing higher. "Mrs. Barrett, I'm not gonna lie, this isn't subtle. Your husband's either incredibly arrogant or incredibly stupid. Can it be both?" He laughed. "I can have preliminary findings in a week, full report in 2, but based on what you're showing me," he tapped the pediatrician charge, "we're not just looking at an affair. This is a whole separate family. How much for the full investigation?" $3,500 retainer. I'll track his movements, verify the Arizona address, document everything legally admissible. I pulled out our joint credit card, the irony wasn't lost on either of us, and handed it over. Let's call it a business expense. Marriage dissolution consultation. That night, Hendrix came home at his usual time, kissed me hello, played with the kids, and asked what was for dinner like a normal Tuesday. We ate spaghetti and discussed Braden's upcoming soccer game and whether Sienna was ready for swim lessons. "You seem happy today," Hendrix observed. "Good day at work?" "Really productive, actually." I smiled across the table. "Landed a new client. Big project. Could be really lucrative." This wasn't technically a lie. Marcus Flynn was absolutely a new client, and the project of destroying my husband's carefully constructed double life was definitely going to be lucrative for my divorce attorney. Friday's wine night arrived, and I showed up at Jennifer Landry's house with 2 bottles of rosé and the performance of my life. 8 women from our neighborhood, all gathered in Jennifer's pristine living room. "So, Odessa," Marla Mitchell started, already on her second glass. "How's Hendrix's travel schedule? I can't imagine what you deal with." "Oh, you know, we make it work. He's very dedicated to his job, very committed to providing for to providing for us." Nobody caught the slip. "Must be hard, though," Jennifer added. "All that time apart. Don't you worry about, I trust Hendrix completely," I said. "He'd never do anything to jeopardize our family. He's too worried about what people would think. His mother would absolutely murder him if he ever embarrassed the family name." This got knowing laughs. Spring Valley was the kind of place where your reputation mattered more than your actual character. "Speaking of mothers," I continued casually, "are you all coming to the big Mother's Day brunch at the country club? Hendrix's mom is organizing it this year. She's invited everyone, and I mean everyone." "Wouldn't miss it," Jennifer said. "Oh, this one's going to be especially memorable," I promised. "I'm even preparing a special presentation, a tribute to family, honesty, and the importance of transparency in relationships." They all thought I was talking about a sweet slideshow of family photos. I wasn't. By the time Marcus called me the following Wednesday, I was prepared for anything. Or so I thought. "Mrs. Barrett, you're going to want to sit down for this." I was in my car, having just dropped the kids at school. "Hit me. Your husband has been maintaining a residence in Scottsdale, Arizona for 3 years and 2 months. A 3-bedroom house in a suburb called Desert Hills. He's listed as the primary leaseholder." Okay. Deep breath. And he's living there with a woman named Kelsey Winters, age 31, elementary school teacher. They have 2 children together, a daughter who just turned 3 and a son who's 8 months old. The world tilted. 3 years old. He'd gotten her pregnant right around the time Sienna was born. "Mrs. Barrett, you still there?" "Yeah, keep going." "He's listed as the father on both birth certificates. Uses his real name, real social security number. He's not even trying to hide it legally. He's just banking on you never looking." "What else?" "Kelsey Winters believes she's his only family. Based on social media, which she doesn't keep private. She posts about him constantly. 'My amazing fiancé, father of my babies,' the whole thing. She has no idea you exist." I started laughing. Couldn't help it. Sitting in the elementary school parking lot, laughing like a maniac while Marcus detailed my husband's double life. "There's more," Marcus said carefully. "His mother knows. I've documented 3 separate visits she's made to the Arizona house over the past 2 years. She's met the children. There are photos. Of course. Sunday lunches where she'd smile at me and compliment my pot roast while knowing her son had another family, while knowing her other grandchildren existed. "Send me everything," I said, voice steady now. Cold. "Every photo, every document, every receipt. Already compiled. Mrs. Barrett, I have to ask, what are you planning to do with this?" I watched a stream of perfectly dressed mothers walk past my car. "I'm going to tell the truth, Marcus. At the most public, most family-oriented event I can think of. I'm going to make sure everyone knows exactly who Hendrix Barrett really is." "Good," Marcus said. "He deserves it." After I hung up, I sat reading through Marcus's report. Photos of Hendrix pushing a stroller in a Phoenix park. Hendrix at a playground with a little girl who had his eyes. Hendrix at a grocery store with Kelsey, her hand on her pregnant belly. My phone buzzed. A text from Hendrix. Missing you and the kids. Phoenix is boring without you guys. Can't wait to be home. I typed back. We miss you too. Can't wait for Mother's Day. Your mom is so excited for the brunch. It's going to be unforgettable. Unforgettable. That was one word for it. You know what's funny about discovering your husband's secret family? The logistics. Like, how does someone maintain two completely separate lives without accidentally calling their Arizona kid by their Connecticut kid's name? Does he have a spreadsheet? Because honestly, I was struggling to keep track of one family, and this man was out here managing two like some kind of demented circus performer. The week after Marcus's report arrived, I did something that surprised even me. I called Kelsey Winters. Not to scream at her. She didn't know I existed, which technically made her as much a victim as me. No, I called because I needed information. And sometimes the best way to get information is to simply ask for it while pretending to be someone else. Hello? Her voice was younger than I expected, cheerful. Hi, is this Kelsey Winters? I used my professional voice. This is Jennifer Morrison from Family Circle magazine. We're doing a feature on modern families and work-life balance, and your name came up as someone doing amazing things as an educator and mother. Oh, that's so flattering. Thank you. We'd love to include your story. Can you tell me a bit about your family situation? Of course. I have a fiancé, Hendrix Barrett, and two kids. He's a pharmaceutical sales director, travels a lot for work, but he's amazing when he's home. So hands-on with our children. I was taking notes, my hand steady despite the surreal horror. That's wonderful. And how long have you two been together? 3 years in June. We met at a conference in Phoenix. Total whirlwind romance. He was going through a really difficult time. He'd just lost his previous family in a tragic accident, was dealing with so much grief. But we helped each other heal, you know? I nearly dropped my phone. Lost his previous family. In a tragic accident. He'd killed us off. He'd literally murdered me and our children in his Arizona narrative so he could play grieving widower finding love again. That's such a beautiful story of resilience, I managed. And his family has been supportive? Oh my gosh, his mother is an angel. She was so worried about him after the accident. And she's told me how grateful she is that I brought joy back into his life. She visits from Connecticut a few times a year. Just the sweetest woman. The sweetest woman. My mother-in-law had not only gone along with the lie, she'd actively participated in it. She'd looked Kelsey in the eye and perpetuated the story that her son's actual living wife and children were dead. One last question. Are you doing anything special for Mother's Day? Actually, yes. Hendrix is flying back early from his Connecticut business trip to surprise me. We're doing brunch at a beautiful restaurant in Scottsdale. His mom can't make it. She has some family obligation back east, but it'll be our little family. Perfect. Thank you so much for your time. After I hung up, I sat at my kitchen table and realized the full scope of what he'd done. He hadn't just cheated. He'd narratively erased us. In Arizona, we were dead. In Connecticut, they didn't exist. He'd created two completely separate realities, and he was the only person living in both worlds. It was actually kind of impressive in the most horrifying way possible. My phone rang. Hendrix, calling from Phoenix. Hey babe, just wanted to check in. How are my girls? My girls. Like Sienna and I were his Connecticut collection, and he had a separate Arizona set. We're great. Sienna drew you a picture today. She misses her daddy. I miss her too, miss all of you. When are you home again? Friday night. Late though. My flight doesn't land until 10. Interesting. Because according to Kelsey, he was flying back to Phoenix early to surprise her for Mother's Day weekend, which meant he was planning to tell me he was in Phoenix while actually being in Phoenix, but for a completely different family. Can't wait, I said sweetly. Oh, and your mom called. She's so excited about the Mother's Day brunch on Sunday. The whole family's coming. Even your Aunt Patricia from Vermont. It's going to be huge. A pause. This Sunday? Yep, May 12th. Your mom has it at the country club from 11 to 3. You didn't forget, did you? No, of course not. I might need to adjust my flight. It's really important to your mom. She specifically said she wants all her children and grandchildren there. All of them. Right, yeah. I'll figure it out. Within 10 minutes, my mother-in-law called. Odessa, dear. I just spoke with Hendrix. He mentioned something about having the whole family together? Oh, yes. I know how important family is to you, Margaret. All of your grandchildren in one place. Should be special. A long pause. Yes, very special. I'll see you Sunday, dear. The beautiful thing about being a digital marketing consultant is that I know how to build a presentation. I know how to craft a narrative for maximum engagement. I know exactly how to structure information so your audience stays hooked from opening slide to final call to action. So that's what I did. I spent the next 3 days building the most comprehensive, visually stunning, emotionally devastating PowerPoint presentation of my career. Marcus had given me everything: photos, bank statements, property records, birth certificates, social media screenshots. I organized it chronologically, starting with the first suspicious charge 3 years ago and ending with a photo from Kelsey's Instagram from 2 days ago. Hendrix holding their 8-month-old son, caption reading, "My Whole World." The presentation was titled, "The Barrett Family, a comprehensive timeline of love, lies, and real estate investment in the greater Phoenix area." Subtitle, "A Mother's Day Tribute." Friday night, Hendrix came home at 10:30, exhausted from his flight. He kissed me, hugged the kids, and collapsed on the couch. "Long trip? You have no idea. I'm so glad to be home." "Well, you're going to love Sunday. Your mom has the whole thing catered. She even hired a photographer." "Great," he said weakly. "I'm doing a little presentation too. Just some family photos, memories. Your mom loved the idea." He went pale. Actually pale. "You talked to my mom about a presentation?" "Of course. She's the guest of honor. Don't worry. It's nothing embarrassing. Just celebrating family. Honesty. The importance of knowing your roots." I smiled. "All your roots." Saturday, I got my hair done. Highlights, finally. Full blowout. I bought a new dress. Royal blue, fitted, professional, but with definite, "I'm about to burn my entire life down" energy. I also hired my own photographer and videographer. If I was going to expose my husband's double life in front of 75 extended family members, I was going to document every second. Sunday morning arrived with absurdly perfect weather. 72 degrees, sunny. The kind of day that screams, nothing bad could possibly happen. I helped Braden into his button-down and Sienna into her flower dress. Hendrix put on slacks and a blazer, checking himself in the mirror multiple times. He looked like he might throw up. "You okay?" "Fine, just tired." The drive to Spring Valley Country Club took 12 minutes. 12 minutes of Hendrix checking his phone obsessively, his leg bouncing. I'd never seen him this rattled. Good. The country club was decorated exactly how Margaret liked it. Tasteful floral centerpieces, white tablecloths, classical music. Extended family was already arriving. Aunt Patricia, Cousin Derek and family, my parents, my sister. Margaret held court at the center table, wearing a lavender dress and her signature pearls. "There's my son." She embraced Hendrix, then turned to me. "And lovely Odessa." "Thank you, Margaret. I have that presentation ready whenever you'd like me to do it." "Presentation?" Aunt Patricia perked up. "How lovely. Just a little tribute to family." Margaret specifically requested it, about the importance of honesty and transparency in family relationships. "Right, Margaret." My mother-in-law's smile froze. "Yes, of course." "Wonderful. I've coordinated with the AV guy. All set up. I was thinking right after the main course before dessert. Really give everyone time to digest." I paused. "The food, I mean, and the information." Hendrix grabbed my elbow. "Odessa, can I talk to you?" "Of course, honey." I let him steer me toward a quiet corner. His face was white. "What are you doing?" "Celebrating your mother on Mother's Day, with a presentation about family. Our family. All of it." "Odessa, did you know that Kelsey Winters thinks we're dead? That's the story you told her. Tragic accident. She thinks you're a grieving widower who found love again. Very romantic. Except for the part where I'm very much alive and standing in front of you." He couldn't speak. "Don't worry. I'm not going to make a scene. I'm just going to tell the truth. Show some photos, share some bank statements. Let everyone know about your impressive commitment to family. Both families. All 4 of your children. You can't. I can. I am. And I did. The presentation is already loaded. The photographer is here. I even sent a courtesy invitation to Kelsey, though she probably won't make it since she thinks you're surprising her in Scottsdale right now. Hendrix looked like he might actually faint. Now let's go back out there and enjoy brunch. Your mom worked so hard on this event. I patted his cheek. Smile, honey. You're on camera. Aka? The thing about revenge is that everyone imagines it as this explosive, dramatic moment, like throwing a drink in someone's face or storming out with a perfectly prepared speech. But real revenge, the kind that actually destroys someone, is methodical. It's patient. It's a PowerPoint presentation with proper citations and a Q&A session at the end. Brunch started exactly as planned. The country club staff brought out the first course, fancy eggs Benedict that probably cost more per plate than my first car. Everyone was chatting, laughing, compliments flying about Margaret's organizational skills. Hendrix sat next to me, radiating anxiety like a nuclear reactor about to melt down. He'd barely touched his food. Every few minutes, his phone would buzz and he'd glance at it with increasing panic. I knew exactly who was texting. Kelsey, wondering where her surprise was. You should eat something, I whispered. You'll need your strength. His hand shook, reaching for his water glass. Margaret stood up, tapping her champagne glass. Everyone, thank you so much for coming. It means the world to have all my loved ones here together. All her loved ones. I wondered if she was counting the 2 grandchildren in Arizona that half the room didn't know existed. Before the main course, Margaret continued, my wonderful daughter-in-law Odessa has prepared a special presentation. The AV guy had already set up the projector. My laptop was connected and ready. I'd tested it 3 times that morning. Thank you, Margaret. I stood up, smoothing my royal blue dress, and walked to the front. 75 pairs of eyes followed me. My photographer, positioned in the corner, started filming. Hendrix looked like he was about to have a heart attack. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers here, I began. Today I want to talk about something that's been on my mind. The importance of honesty in families. Transparency. Knowing the whole truth about the people we love. I clicked to the first slide. The title appeared, The Barrett Family, a comprehensive timeline of love, lies, and real estate investment in the greater Phoenix area. A few confused chuckles. Someone thought it was a joke. Let's start with background. Click. Wedding photo of Hendrix and me. 8 years ago. Beautiful ceremony. Nobody suspected anything unusual. Click. Fast forward to March 2022. Hendrix made a purchase at a Scottsdale jewelry store. Told me it was a client gift. Click again. Kelsey's Instagram showing her wearing the necklace. It wasn't for a client. The room went very, very quiet. Who's that? Someone asked. This is Kelsey Winters, 31 elementary school teacher from Scottsdale, Arizona. And these are her children. I turned to look at Hendrix. Actually, these are our children. Hendrix's children. Let me introduce you to your extended family. Margaret made a strangled sound. My mother's fork clattered onto her plate. This is Harper, 3 years old, conceived right around when Sienna was born. And Mason, 8 months old. 2 kids in Arizona, 2 in Connecticut. Very efficient family planning. Aunt Patricia had her hand over her mouth. Now, how does someone maintain 2 families? Great question. Click, spreadsheet of charges. Over 3 years, Hendrix spent approximately $127,000 of our joint funds on his Arizona life. Rent, groceries, pediatrician visits. Very involved father, just for 2 families who didn't know about each other. Odessa, stop this, Margaret hissed. Oh, Margaret, we're just getting to your part. Click. Photos of Margaret at the Arizona house. Did you all know Margaret has been visiting her other grandchildren regularly? She's met Harper and Mason multiple times, while we thought she was at book club. The room erupted, people talking over each other, gasping, demanding explanations. There's more. Hendrix told Kelsey that his first family died in a tragic accident. That's me. And Braden and Sienna. We're dead in his Arizona story. He's been playing grieving widower. Oh my God, someone whispered. Hendricks finally found his voice. Odessa, please. Please what? Please stop telling the truth? Please stop showing bank statements? My voice had risen. I took a breath. Here's my favorite part. Click. Text messages. Hendricks texting Kelsey, love you, can't wait to be home, while sitting in our Connecticut living room. Braden looked up from his iPad. Dad, do I have other siblings? The room went silent. Yes, honey, I said gently. You have a sister named Harper and a brother named Mason in Arizona. Daddy was going to tell us eventually, weren't you, Daddy? Hendricks stood up, knocking his chair over. I need to explain. By all means. I gestured to the front. The floor is yours. He looked around at 75 faces staring at him with shock, disgust, and rage. His mother was crying. My father was being physically restrained by my brother-in-law. Hendricks started. I made mistakes. Mistakes is forgetting to buy milk. This is sustained deception involving 2 states, 2 families, and $127,000 in misappropriated marital funds. His phone buzzed loudly. That's probably Kelsey, I said. She's expecting you in Scottsdale. Should we conference her in? Make this a full family reunion? You're insane, Margaret spat. You're destroying this family. I'm destroying this family? Margaret, your son created a second family and you helped him hide it. You looked me in the eye every Sunday while knowing about Harper and Mason. You're emergency contact at Mason's pediatrician. Those children deserve a grandmother. So do Braden and Sienna. They deserve a father who doesn't split himself in half. They deserve a grandmother who doesn't lie. They deserve better than this insane situation you both created. Sienna started crying. The sound cut through everything. I immediately went to her, picking her up. It's okay, baby. Why is everyone yelling? Because sometimes grown-ups do really hurtful things, and other grown-ups have to decide whether to stay quiet or tell the truth. And I decided to tell the truth. My mother came over to take Sienna. We're taking the kids outside. After they left, I turned back. I want a divorce. My attorney will be contacting you tomorrow. I'm filing for full custody, which should be straightforward given the circumstances. The house is in both our names. But considering you've been maintaining a second residence with marital funds, I'm confident. You can't, Hendricks started. I can. I have documentation of everything. 3 years of financial records, photos, social media posts, birth certificates, a private investigator's report that would make your company's HR department very interested, by the way. His face went white. You wouldn't. Try me. Your company has a morality clause. I checked. Pretty sure secret second family with company funds counts. Aunt Patricia spoke up. Good for you, Odessa. Take him for everything. Several family members murmured agreement. You're tearing this family apart, Margaret cried. No, Margaret. Hendricks tore it apart 3 years ago. I'm just showing everyone the damage. I looked around. I'm sorry your Mother's Day got hijacked. But if we're celebrating mothers today, we should be honest about which children we're celebrating. All of them. I walked back to my seat, unplugged my laptop. Dad, can you take the kids home? I need to go somewhere. Where? Arizona. Kelsey Winters deserves to know the truth, too. And Harper and Mason deserve to know their father isn't a widower. He's just a coward. I walked out of that country club with my head high, laptop under my arm, and my marriage in ashes. Behind me, I could hear chaos erupting. Family members yelling at Hendricks, at Margaret, at each other. My photographer followed me out. Mrs. Barrett, I got everything. Perfect. Send me all the files for the divorce proceedings. I paused. And maybe send a copy to Margaret. She loves family photos. In my car, I pulled up Kelsey's Facebook. New post from 10 minutes ago. Still waiting for my surprise. He must be planning something extra special. I commented, Hi, Kelsey. This is Odessa Barrett, Hendricks' wife. We need to talk. I'm booking a flight to Phoenix right now. Check your messages. Then I called the airline. 2 hours later, I was on a plane to Arizona with my evidence files, my righteous anger, and a bottle of airport wine. Hendricks' world was burning down in Connecticut, and I was about to make sure it burned in Arizona too. Because if there's one thing I learned from 8 years of marriage to a liar, it's that the truth is always better than a comfortable fiction, even when the truth is absolutely devastating, especially then. Here's what nobody tells you about blowing up your entire life in front of 75 people at a country club brunch. The aftermath is weirdly quiet. Like, you'd expect sirens or dramatic music, but instead it's just you on a plane to Phoenix, drinking mediocre Chardonnay from a plastic cup, wondering if you've completely lost your mind. Spoiler alert, I hadn't. But I was definitely operating on a level of clarity that only comes from sustained betrayal and 3 years of gaslighting. Kelsey was waiting at Phoenix Sky Harbor baggage claim with a stroller, Mason, and a little girl holding her hand. Harper, my husband's other daughter. She looked younger than 31, tired, scared. She was staring at me like I was a ghost, which, in her reality, I was. I was supposed to be dead. Odessa? Her voice cracked. I showed her our wedding photo, then a recent family picture from Braden's soccer game. Hendrix, me, both kids, all smiling. Kelsey made a sound like she'd been punched. "He told me you died," she whispered. "Car accident. He showed me obituaries." She stopped. Oh my God, he faked them. For the next hour in that airport, I walked Kelsey through everything. She held Mason the entire time, occasionally crying, occasionally laughing in that disbelieving way that means you've moved past shock. "His mother knows," I said. "She's met your kids, attended Mason's baptism. Margaret looked me in the eye and told me how grateful she was that I brought joy back into Hendrix's life after his tragedy." Kelsey's voice went hard. "She's been to our house 3 times. She has Sunday lunch with me every single week," I said. Never said a word. We sat in silence, 2 women lied to by the same man and the same mother-in-law. "What are you going to do?" Kelsey finally asked. "Divorce him. Take him for everything. Protect my kids." I paused. "What about you?" "I don't know. We're not married. I'm not entitled to anything." She looked at Mason. "I feel so stupid." "Don't. He's a professional liar. But you should talk to a lawyer, child support, custody. He's the father whether he likes it or not." 3 months later, I was signing final divorce papers. Hendrix had been fired after HR got involved. Turns out using company funds to maintain a secret family violated several policies. He was currently in a Hartford studio apartment trying to figure out how to pay child support to 2 families. Margaret wasn't speaking to me, which was the best gift she'd ever given me. She'd been ostracized by half the extended family and kicked out of her book club. I got the house. Full custody of Braden and Sienna. My lawyer had been ruthless. The kids were in therapy. Braden was angry. Sienna was confused but resilient. We'd video chatted with Harper and Mason twice. Kelsey and I had developed a weird friendship born of shared trauma. My consulting business had exploded. Turns out, woman who exposed husband's double life via PowerPoint is viral marketing gold. I'd been interviewed by 3 podcasts, and my client roster had tripled. I'd also started dating again. Nothing serious, just remembering what it felt like to talk to someone who didn't require a lie detector test. Signing those papers, I felt light. Not happy exactly, but free. Like I'd been carrying a weight I hadn't realized was there. "How do you feel?" my lawyer asked. "Like I won the lottery and got hit by a bus," I said. "Complicated." That evening, I picked up the kids. We got takeout, chicken nuggets, their choice, and sat on our back deck watching the sunset. "Mom?" Braden asked. "Are you sad about Dad?" I considered carefully. "I'm sad about the situation. I'm sad he made choices that hurt us. But I'm not sad about knowing the truth. The truth is always better than a lie, even when it's really hard. Even when the truth is Dad had a whole other family? Especially then. Because now we make real choices based on real information. We don't have to live in a lie anymore." Sienna spoke up. "Can Harper and Mason come visit?" My heart squeezed. "Maybe someday, sweetie." "I hope so," she said. "I always wanted more siblings. Kids just cut right through to the heart of things." Later, after they were asleep, I sat in my home office and opened a new document. Title: Lessons from a Double Life. What I Learned from My Husband's Secret Family. Lesson 1. Trust your instincts. If something feels off, it probably is. Lesson 2. Financial transparency isn't optional. Joint accounts mean joint oversight. Lesson 3. When someone shows you who they are, believe them. Lesson 4. Your mother-in-law is not always your friend. Lesson 5. Sometimes the only way out is through. And sometimes through means a PowerPoint at a country club brunch. Lesson 6. The truth is always worth it, even when it costs everything. I sat back and started to laugh. The kind that starts in your belly and works its way up. Part relief, part disbelief, part genuine humor at the absurdity of human behavior. My husband had maintained 2 families for 3 years. I'd exposed them both in front of 75 people while wearing a great dress. Kelsey and I had bonded over mutual betrayal, and Hendrix had lost everything through his own spectacular stupidity. It was the most insane thing that had ever happened to me, and I'd survived it. More than survived, I'd won. Not in the revenge is sweet way, though that PowerPoint had been satisfying, but in the I know exactly who I am and what I deserve way. In the my kids will grow up knowing their mother chose truth over comfort way. In the I will never settle for being half known again way. My phone buzzed. Marcus Flynn, my private investigator. Odessa, I have another client. Similar situation. Wants to expose her husband publicly. She asked if I knew anyone who'd done it successfully. You want me to consult on someone else's revenge plan? Is that weird? I thought about Kelsey, my kids, every woman who'd been gaslit and made to feel crazy for trusting her instincts. Actually, that sounds perfect, because silence protects the wrong people. Truth, even devastating truth, is the only way forward. And if I could help someone else find their way through the lies, that seemed like a pretty good use of my hard-won expertise. Fair warning, Marcus said. Her situation makes yours look simple. Her husband has 3 families, in 3 different countries. Okay, that's impressive. In a horrifying way. I sat up straighter. Tell her she's going to need more than 1 PowerPoint. I hung up and smiled. Not because what happened to me was good or right or fair, but because I'd survived it. I'd faced it head on, refused to be silent, and came out the other side stronger. Hendrix had thought he could have everything. 2 families, 2 lives, no consequences. He'd gambled on my silence, on my desire to maintain appearances, on suburban pressure to keep things nice and neat. He'd bet on the wrong woman. And that, more than anything else, was exactly how it should be. The truth will set you free. It'll also blow up your entire life, traumatize your children, and destroy your extended family relationships. But you know what? Still worth it. Every single time.